So how much should I be charging as a web designer for a website? That is the burning question that every web designer struggles with throughout their website design career. And today, if you are still struggling with how to price your services, I'm going to help you. What's up? Tristan Parker here, and I'm committed to helping you guys up your website design game as well as your business. Now, in this video, we're going to be running through how you can go about pricing your web design services. This is actually something really common that a lot of designers struggle with, and especially if you're new to the industry, then you're probably not sure how much you should be charging businesses for your services. The chances are you're having some sort of like internal battle between wanting to price high enough to make a lot of money and wanting to price low enough that businesses are going to say yes and you're not going to scare them off. Am I right? But don't worry, it is actually an ongoing battle that many designers have. I've been there myself, and actually it doesn't have to be so difficult. I'm actually a big believer in charging your worth and never underselling yourself. And I know a lot of people speak about that and it sounds incredibly cliche, but what I mean is you need to obviously appreciate that you are the expert in your field. Even if you're new to web design and haven't been doing it for very long at all, you still need to understand that you are an authoritative figure. You are more experienced than the person hiring you to do the job, which means that you are valuable. Of course, when you are quoting for a website and giving a client a price, you need to make sure that price covers all aspects of the project. So one, it needs to cover your time, but it also needs to cover external resources such as content writing or photography or any extra development that needs doing, or anything that you are not able to do yourself, you need to factor in. Otherwise, you're going to risk losing money. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be telling you how much you should be charging for your website design services, because ultimately, I think that needs to come down to what you want to charge. But what I am going to be doing is sharing with you a couple of pricing strategies or pricing models that are common in the industry that will allow you to start thinking about how you could potentially price for your services. And we're going to run through the pros and cons of each, so it'll give you a pretty good understanding of what one would work best for you. So up first, we have value-based pricing. So here we want to be thinking about what value our service is going to bring to the business once we deliver a brand new website for them. Now, this method does require us to ask a couple of questions to the business, which a lot of you might find uncomfortable, because we need to figure out things like what are their business goals, where are they going, what are their expectations, how much money are they making, how much money are they planning to make from this website. Then once we have all of that information and we've written it down, we can then gauge how much we can potentially charge for this project. Now, let's say that you are quoting for an e-commerce store, and by you delivering that e-commerce store to the business, that store is going to bring them in an extra $100,000 in revenue for that year. Now, if that's the case, then the chances are you can charge $10,000, maybe $20,000 for that website project. And charging that kind of money is going to be more justifiable to them because that figure is a lot lower than the figure that they would be making from the website. But if we flip that around and we approach a business that's only likely to make an extra $10,000 in revenue from their website, then charging them $10,000 for the website is probably not going to be very justifiable for them. So essentially, with this pricing model, you need to gauge each pricing of a project on a project by project basis. That was a lot of projects. But by doing that, you can then anticipate how much value you're going to add to the business and then give them a price based on that. So what are the pros and cons? Let's have a look now. So the first would be you have the capacity to charge more money if the business is bigger, which is awesome. Also, we are not charging an hourly rate. So if the project actually doesn't take you that long to do, it doesn't matter. You still get paid, you still earn a lot of money, and you've still added the value to the business in order for them to continue making money. But of course, there are a few cons, so let's go over those now. If it does take you a long time, then you are potentially gonna lose money if you haven't quoted for it properly. Also, it does require you to ask some questions that some people might find difficult in order to start digging into figures and revenue of the business. And finally, with smaller businesses, it's going to be pretty difficult to get them to spend thousands of dollars on a website. Another way that you can charge for your web design services is via an hourly rate. Now, there isn't a lot to cover here because essentially you're taking your hourly rate and then multiplying it by the amount of hours that it's taking you to do a job. This method works really well for a lot of freelancers, or if you have a very long-term ongoing relationship with a business, or if you are working with a business on a collection of very small ad hoc tasks that seem to pop up every now and then. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of businesses that are not keen on this pricing model because one, there is nothing incentivizing you as a designer to get the job done fast, and two, a lot of businesses actually like to know the price of a project up front so they can then factor in and budget for it, which is kind of like a fixed-based pricing, which we will get into shortly. But first up, let's just cover the pros and cons of hourly pricing. So pros, first up, the big one is no matter how long it takes you to do a job, you are going to be paid for it, which is cool for a lot of designers. Two, it's really good for pricing smaller ad hoc tasks on an ongoing basis. But on the flip side, for the cons, we have it is actually really difficult to get businesses to agree to working with you on an hourly rate basis. And that is because it comes down to them wanting to know how much things cost so they can budget. And two, if you are working with a smaller business, they tend to compare your hourly rate against the hourly rates of their employees. So for example, if they're paying an employee $12 an hour and you're coming in charging $50 an hour, they're gonna probably see you as expensive. So yeah, the hourly rate pricing structure is a good one, and if you can make that work for your business, then perfect. But next up, we have the more common pricing model, and that is fixed rate project-based pricing. So this is actually a really common pricing model for web designers and agency owners, because the only thing that you need to really think about is how much is that project going to cost. This does mean that you need to have a pretty good idea of how long a project is going to take you to do, and you would take that time and multiply that by your web design or agency based hourly rate, and then you'll end up with a fixed price. But on top of that, you need to make sure that you factor in any external costs. So for example, if you needed a content writer or a photographer or an external developer to do additional development, or essentially any tasks that you're not able to do yourself, you're going to have to factor in the cost of that into the project cost to ensure that you are not making a loss. Because if you do forget about the simple things like external costs, then quite quickly you can be losing money, which is not ideal. So remember the external costs and always factor that into the fixed price model as well. So what are the pros and cons of the fixed base pricing option? First up, it is really beneficial for your client because they will get a figure or a price up front, and it will reassure them how much the project is going to cost right from the beginning. Second, you'll likely end up with a very nice itemized pricing structure that you can use no matter the client or the project. You can quickly pull out a figure and deliver that to them. Now let's just quickly run through the cons of these. First off is you as a designer need to really understand how long things are going to take. You need to understand your process in order for you to charge appropriately for them. Also, if you've forgotten to factor in any external risk or external development, then there is a chance that the price of the project could slowly creep up more so than you had originally anticipated. So hopefully now you have a much better understanding on how you can price your web design services and which one of those three pricing models would work for you and your business. So let's just quickly recap what we've covered. We have, first off, you need to charge what you are worth, and we need to understand that you are valuable to a business looking for your services. You can price for your business using value-based pricing, or you can use an hourly rate, or you can use fixed term pricing. So hopefully you found that valuable. If you guys are interested in upping your website design game and your business, then there are tons of other videos on my channel, so go and check them out. If you haven't done so already, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification if you want to be alerted for future releases, and guys, give it a thumbs up if you like the content, because it really helps other people find the content as well. But otherwise, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you, but if not, I will catch you in the next one.